A UCF student is being sent back to China after police discover what they call red flags and disturbing behavior. They were tipped off by a massive $70,000 purchase, and they ended up discovering much more.
26-year-old Wenlang's son was in the United States on a non-immigration F1 student visa. UCF police say they first received a tip about son on February the 1st. They say his behavior and appearance changed, and he admitted to owning high-powered military-style rifles. Friends and roommates told investigators that son had spent $70,000 cash on a car. A few days after investigators talked to him, son bought another gun with ammunition. After that, his international student visa was terminated, not because of the guns, but because he stopped going to class. He was taken into custody on February the 7th.
So are police getting better about picking out potential threats, or was this just luck? Tonight, 10 News reporter Bo Zimmer is speaking with a former FBI profiler turned USF researcher studying new ways to identify dangerous people before it's too late.
I'm a forensic psychologist. I study human development and behavior, particularly as it relates to criminal behavior. My experience is I'm a former FBI special agent. I've worked cases. I also worked as a research fellow in the FBI's behavioral science unit in Quantico.
And one of the things you do is pick people out of a crowd who might be potentially dangerous.
What I do is risk assessments and look at what is the risk that somebody in a crowd might go ahead and commit a violent or criminal act.
So how is this student at UCF deemed someone who might be a potential risk?
Yeah, there are very specific risk factors that the research has shown to increase the odds that you are going to go commit a violent act. And we see a lot of these risk factors adding up in this case. Specifically, the fact that there is some potentially impulsive behavior, such as going out to buy a very expensive car, a Corvette, $70,000, going out to buy guns, plural, an assault weapon and another kind of firearm, and of course dyeing his hair. There's things that are very unusual, and independently these might not be strange, but when you look at them in the aggregate together, that's when it becomes a warning flag.
Did we get lucky in this case, or are we getting better at detecting these types of individuals before they act?
I would very much like to think we are getting better at detecting people as time goes on and the research is being gets filtered into practice, which is a huge deal. My job at the University of South Florida is to conduct this research, but I also like to bring it to police departments and the community so they're able to use it in their everyday life.
Now, at the time they began investigating him, UCF police officers were not allowed to take son's guns away. He bought them legally with a hunting license. And this was before Governor Scott signed the risk protection order, which allows law enforcement to confiscate firearms from people taken into custody under the Baker Act. The risk protection order was part of the new Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School Public Safety Act.